Do you want to hit us with that intro music?
Sweet, sweet intro music.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Trent, and I received Ashes of Singularity Escalation as the centerpiece for my Easter basket last year.
Ooh. Hi, my name is Bianca, and I pulled Batman Arkham Origins out of the stone, like the sword and the stone. Mm-hmm. And I forgot I owned that.
I forgot I owned that. Can we do it together like we're supposed to?
Yeah. And I forgot I owned that.
There we go. We did it. We're here.
Wow.
Goodness. So this is a podcast where we review our extensive backlog of unplayed shovelware Steam games. All you want. We have large catalogs of games we do not remember ever acquiring or owning. And this is a podcast where we bring one each week, just talk about it, get our hot takes, our first impressions, things of that nature. And we like to start off each week by talking about the best thing we saw this week. What was the best thing you saw this week?
The best thing I saw this week were those cookies we made.
Ooh, they were very good.
Yeah, we made oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, and then for like half of them, I toasted some shredded coconut and whipped that up into the dough. So it was a nice little, I don't know, extra spice in the cookies or something.
Did we finish those finally?
I think I have one left.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I never did try a coconut one, so maybe
we split it.
Split it?
Yeah. Yeah,
good.
You were like very against the idea of coconut in there, so.
In my defense, you filled a whole skillet with coconut.
I did.
A lot of coconut.
I did, but it was tasty.
Okay,
so.
I'm glad.
No
I'm glad
regrets.
You think so.
What was the best thing you saw this week?
So I present to you what used to be a Tumblr post, but I saw on Reddit.
Okay, love those.
A dramatic reading. Debating where we're just going to start at the beginning.
All right.
The Tumblr user was called Bully Squattus,
Okay,
just like it sounds.
great.
So I present you a dramatic reading.
All right.
Honestly, I'm done with the lies. Being Little Spoon fucking sucks, okay? It really does. It's hot and sweaty and cramped, and you better believe that arm wrapped around you is going to go from acceptable foreign weight to there is a literal blue whale colony collapsed atop you in about 2 minutes flat. Y'all for real want a flesh blanket encasing you? A goddamn slab prison of human skin and person tissue draped across your corporeal form? Find a god and grovel for redemption. This was part one.
Oh my God.
There's more. I present to you part two.
Two.
Being Big Spoon, though, divine, precious. It grants the sensation of being a benevolent egg white swaddled loosely within your blanket shell as you in turn cradle the precious yolk within your grasp. You are a sublime deity of warmth and comfort, one who may bestow your blessing on any mortal you deem fit, an unparalleled joy to perform. And you can grab a titty.
I was truly thinking that grabbing the titty would be somewhere in this post. And that did not disappoint.
You were not wrong about that.
I have just one question for you.
Sure, yes.
Am I your precious yolk?
Yes. And I hug you with my swaddled white. I don't know what the metaphor was there.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That was good. I really liked that.
Me too. I thought you'd appreciate it.
I very much.
So what'd you play this week?
I played Batman Arkham Origins, so I have not played any Batman games. I have only watched you play the other Batman game.
City. I play
Arkham
City.
City.
Yes.
Okay, Batman Arkham City. And what I recall from it was you just, flying around as Batman, perching on some buildings.
Sure.
punching some dudes, using some gadgets.
Yeah, normal Batman
Normal
activities.
Batman stuff. And that's pretty much what I did when I played this game.
Okay.
I was a little worried at first with just the tutorial bit because it was very guided in that there was a lot of open space but like nothing to do with it. So I was like, is this like a pseudo open world thing where like I can quote unquote explore but not actually explore? Is there nothing for me to collect in these areas? But then it got better after I was done with the tutorial because yes, it is pseudo open world. It's a larger world than I expected.
Yeah.
Quite a few different kind of neighborhoods, very much like Saints Row. If any of y'all have played that, just where there are like kind of set neighborhoods or districts and different challenges and things to collect in those districts. So what I like to do is do all side quests before even progressing in the main quest. That's pretty much what I did. Like as soon as I went to some tower to destroy a signal or something over there.
The bat signal?
No, I don't know. It was like a signal jamming the bat flying thing. The thing I fly in as Batman, it was jamming it from working in the district. I don't know, man.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know.
So once I did that, then it was like, ooh, look at all these side quests. And I was like, ooh, look at all these side quests. So I proceeded to do those and then move on. But it was fun. Like, you just like punch a lot of dudes and it's very kind of spy. I feel like a spy when I'm Batman because you have to do a lot of like stealthy, like silent kills, which you do in other games.
Yeah.
But there's like this whole thing when you're like attacking people where you like use your cape to distract them and then you punch them and then you like leap out of the way and I'm like, ooh, look at me, I'm Batman.
So it made you feel like Batman?
Yeah, I felt like Batman.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
So like that was like fun and there's little challenges where things like, perform 3 of this type of move and then you get some experience points from it and it kind of escalates, so you have all these different challenges to meet up as you progress through the game, which is fine. And there's like skill trees and whatnot, so when you level up you get a point to using the skill tree.
Sidebar. Have you played a game with this combat mechanic before? So the Batman games, they have the like, you don't really have to aim, you kind of just either hit attack or you counter when dudes come close to you, and you can mix up different active abilities as you go. Have you played with that like counter mechanic before?
The countering, no. But in terms of just like throwing punches without really aiming, like if you do like melee in Saints Row, it's pretty much like that.
Okay.
If you're using a gun in Saints Row, then obviously there's like you aim. But if you're just throwing punches, then it's like different. But the countering was a new thing.
How did you feel about that?
Fine. I mean, like I understood when to counter very easily, and so it made.
They make it very obvious.
Yeah, they make it very obvious what you should be doing. So like, it was fine. I feel indifferent about it. I don't know. Like,
because the original Batman in the series, the what was it? Arkham Asylum. That was the game that popularized that fighting mechanic. And then it was freaking everywhere. And I was like, I like it. I think it's fun. Like it's a really easy and fun, but you're still engaged way to do like a action combat kind of system. But then it got super overplayed and everybody got super over it for a while. But I've only ever played it in Arkham City, so I enjoy it when I play that game.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I felt indifferent about it. I was a little like I liked the open world stuff and collecting things, but there are also these other secret items in there that's like if you collect all 13 of these audio files, then you reveal a new plot twist about Enigma. And I'm like, cool. But that stuff doesn't show up on the map. You just have to kind of find it in the world. And I'm like, Batman climbs on literally all of these buildings. How am I supposed to find like 10 of these hidden in this giant district? I don't understand how that's possible. Because like with, what game was I think? Like Borderlands 2, like you have those little like audio clips in each thing, but there's like only 3 you have to find in each area, so it's much more manageable, it feels like to me, whereas it's like 10 among all these skyscrapers, and I'm like, ooh. So that was kind of weird. And then the other thing too is I've just decided, well, no, I've been decided about this for a long time.
Sure.
But it was really made apparent to me playing this game that I'm just bad at stealth. I am so bad at stealth.
Yeah, you have a long storied history of not succeeding in stealth
'Cause,
encounters.
Like, I just much prefer to just be aggro, go guns ablaze, and just shoot them all. And if I die, I have to do it over again, and that's fine. I don't super care. But when I do actually try to be stealthy, it still never goes well. I'm just bad at it, no matter how hard I try. And so Batman is all about being stealthy. Because you're Batman.
Yeah, world's greatest detective, yeah.
And I couldn't do it. I had to try and kill all these guys on a ship. There were 2 snipers. Silently took those guys down. It was fine. But the rest of the dudes were throwing grenades at me. I was trying to use my smoke pellet, but that didn't work. So I just had to play this long game of like throwing my bat boomerang thing at them to knock them out, and then go down, kick one, knock him out, fly back up, use my bat boomerang again. And it was just tedious because I just couldn't stealth like Batman is meant to, which was a bummer for me.
I'm picturing like, so I don't know what it's like in Origin, but a lot of the time in City when you were in stealth encounters, it was like a room or a series of rooms, and Batman's like creeping up in the rafters. So I'm just imagining like everybody is all on edge, looking around like, where's the Batman? Where's the Batman? And all of a sudden, Batman just trips over something and just falls down onto the floor, and things are
Honestly,
crashing.
that was me so many times. Like, I would be like, okay, time for me to do one of those, like, you drop and you take down someone immediately below you. Ready to do one of those. And then I'll, like, push the button, and then Batman just glides down somewhere else. I was like, this is not what's supposed to be happening.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, yeah. I don't know, like, at the end of the day, it was fun. Not really my kind of game.
Sure.
I don't feel the need to play any more of it. I made it, like, 13% of the way through the story. And honestly, I'd say closer to 20% given where I was in the plot. I just think the save point I was at didn't bump up the percentage. But if I had, I think, progressed further in the map I was in, I would have been closer to 20%. So decent chunk through the story for just a couple hours of gameplay, I think. But yeah, I was like, I don't really feel the need to keep this on my computer. Like, I don't really want to pursue this anymore. I also was very confused because honestly, the only like superhero movies that I enjoy is like the Batman trilogy. I don't like the Marvel superhero stuff. And so from the trilogy, I'm like, oh yeah, what's his face? Gordon, the police guy.
Yeah.
Him and Batman are like buds. But in this in this game, Gordon is like, there's no such thing as the Batman. Like, he's not real. And I was like, what? He was like fully out of it. That like he was like not on board with the Batman. And I was like, this is messing with everything I ever knew.
It's interesting. I want you to know the entire time, like, I know who Gordon is, police chief man, but the entire time all I can picture is Gordon Ramsay. Where's the Batman?
You idiot.
I am an idiot Batman sandwich. Is that a topical Gordon Ramsay reference? I'm really not up on my Gordon Ramsay memes.
That's a really common Gordon Ramsay meme.
Good.
Yeah, you're still with it.
Cool.
I just think of Gordon as the trilogy actor, so then I think Sirius Black, because that's the guy who plays him, Gary Oldman.
Oh, it is Gary Oldman.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh, Sirius Black.
The issue I have with Gary Oldman is not that old of a man. But I want him to be in my head, so I can't picture him as the relatively young mustachioed detective from the Batman films.
At first I thought you were going for a joke because you're like Gary Oldman. He's not that old of a man. And I was like, are you making a play on his last name there?
I mean, yes, but also my point stands.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I have to say about the Batman.
All right.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's Batman.
Wow.
So what'd you play?
I played a RTS, a real-time strategy called Ashes of Singularity.
Oh,
Escalation.
that's what RTS stands for.
Yeah, real-time strategy.
Great.
So its whole shtick is wow. Well, okay. From a gameplay perspective, its whole shtick. It's an RTS. You build buildings and buy units and capture territory to defeat your enemies. You command like lots of units. Like if you've ever played, I know you've played Age of Empires, anything
that
like
game.
that. Same genre of game.
Sure.
And this one's aesthetic is like space. I think in the bit of the campaign I played, they talk about, which I really it seems convoluted and unnecessary, but they're like we're post-humans. We're better than humans. We are upgraded humans.
Upgraded humans.
So they're like, I don't know, they have cybernetic something, something, something. So people, there's no actual people. No people were harmed in the game. It's just like you cybernetically, telepathically commanding things. I don't know.
Sure.
It seems unnecessary information, but whatever. I played pretty much just campaign because I was struggling enough to keep up with stuff. I didn't want to just be thrown into a game.
Yeah.
I played like halfway through. There was a couple campaigns, played halfway through the first one. And I will say right off the bat, so the campaign has voice acting, which is great. I'm really proud of them. So there's like characters, stuff going on, trying to guide you through what's going on. Mm-hmm. There's an air of mystery because people are disappearing, whatever.
Ooh.
So there's a bunch of these different characters, and I swear to God, it's like they only had one voice actor. That they only had the budget for one voice actor for the entire campaign. So it's just like one dude. There's like 5 different characters who are all male voices, and they could just be the same guy. And the only female character is like a computer, which has like synthesized speech. So I don't think that really counts. So I'm convinced it's just the one guy doing all of the voice acting, which I find funny.
Who's that that actor that like voiced audiobooks who plays Sherlock Holmes's brother in the movies? Did he do the audiobook for Harry Potter maybe?
I know. No, I don't think that's the same guy.
This British dude.
Stephen Fry is
Stephen
the guy
Fry's
who did Harry Potter. But I don't think that's who
I think
Moffat
it
is.
is. I'll have to look it up later.
Well, if
but
it is,
Stephen
it's-
Fry is who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So what I was going for is like it's like Stephen Fry just like doing an audiobook and voicing all the characters.
Yeah. Though my heart always belongs to Jim Dale, for I'm an American. Thank you.
I
He
don't
did-
listen to audiobooks at all, so I have no loyalties.
Jim Dale did the American English audiobooks for Harry Potter.
Sure.
So that's what I grew up with.
Oh,
Do I hear
okay.
people also love the Stephen Fry? It's fine.
I mean, Stephen Fry's voice is great.
I have no opinions on Stephen Fry. I don't. I can't picture.
I guess I'm finding out where my loyalties lie without having listened to any audiobooks in my life.
Okay. Can you name me one thing Stephen Fry has actually done that you're 100% certain?
I'm willing to go 100% on Sherlock Holmes, the second movie.
There's no wait. Movie.
Yes.
I thought we were talking about the BBC show.
No, the movie.
Because his brother in the BBC show is like this slinky man.
No,
and I was
God,
like,
no.
"That's not Stephen
The
Fry."
Robert Downey Jr.
I do not remember those. I know there's Jude Law and Robert Downey Jr. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm like 100% sure that Stephen Fry plays Rycroft.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of a different
No,
Mycroft.
yep. Okay. Cool.
Wow, we've gone way off the rails. Stephen Fry's aside.
Yes.
Let's see. So first I'm going to draw some comparisons.
Okay.
And these are like things that I think are good in air quotes about this. I'm going to draw comparisons against Age of Mythology, the only RTS I've put any time into. It's like an offshoot of the Age of Empires I played way back in the day. So I will say I didn't super enjoy this game, but if you are like a hardcore RTS person, you probably would like this because a lot of the mechanics are super streamlined compared to something like Age of Mythology. So,
Okay.
First off, there's only 3 resources you keep track of. Only 2 are generated through all of them you have to build a thing to generate, but only 2 of them require you to physically move somewhere to do that. And those resource generators are tied to like territory control. So it's not like you have to go out of your way to get them. You don't have to put units on them. You just build a building and they keep generating for you. So that's a way it's streamlined. I remember in Age of Mythology, there were very complicated upgrade trees.
Okay.
And that there were 3 different kinds of, well, more than that, but 3 basic kinds of units. There was like archers, sword people, like infantry people, and then cavalry. And it was like a rock, paper, scissors situation. And each of those, so you would need all 3, and each of those had their own upgrade trees.
Yeah, that's kind of how Age of Empires is too.
Yeah, I'm sure it's super similar. This game does not have that. It only has global unit upgrades. So increase all unit attack, increase all unit health, stuff like that. Super simplified, right?
Yeah.
Almost everything is available from the start of a game. There's only like a handful of things that are locked behind a single building, which you can pretty much build whenever.
So there's no like research technology sort of thing?
No, not that I've seen. Yeah, so all of those together make a pretty straightforward. You pretty much just build things, capture points, build things, capture points to feed your enemy. So super straightforward. If you're in like the competitive RTS scene, I'm guessing this is the kind of thing you would like, because there's no like kerfuffle. I'm sure the games go pretty quick when you're actually good at them, which I am not. Yeah, I guess the other thing that I like that I'll throw in right now is so you have to deal with a lot of units, like the number of units is abundant.
Okay.
And the maps are big. But one small thing that I enjoy is if you zoom all the way out, you get like a single simplified topographic map UI where you can issue all of your commands from.
Oh.
And it's like everything's just a little speck and you can group them together. And
Yeah.
I think that's super nice. It's not even that useful. It just is pleasing to me.
Sure.
That you go from like the detailed, like there's landscapes, there's all this elevation change to just it flattens all down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Click and drag, all of you.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. So let's start talking about things where this went wrong. So the game doesn't tutorialize well.
You're going to have a wonderful time when you play Europa Universalis 4. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Does that tutorialize at all?
Hardly.
Cool.
Maybe even less than this game. I have not looked at this game at all, but I would venture to guess even less than this game.
We'll see. I don't know. So this game doesn't tutorialize well at all. There's like a tutorial. I swear it was 5 minutes long. And it was just shouting things at me the whole time.
God.
It was like, click and drag left to send units places. Right click to issue commands. And then it would just go through like that.
Okay.
Like basic, like the most basic of controls was all I got from that.
Yeah.
And then it was over.
Okay.
It was like, controls, do this, drop you in a situation where you have all of these options that they didn't explain. Go have fun.
Go
yeah,
do it.
go have fun. It's like, and then there was like another tutorial after that I was like, but I don't understand the first set of tutorial.
Yeah.
What? This can only get worse. So I just went to the campaign. The campaign was a little better. It at least eased you into things.
Sure.
It was like, move and issue commands, build things, like at different missions.
Okay.
Up by units.
Yeah, like these are the actual
are
different
other
things you
units.
can do in the game.
Yes. But then we hit...
Oh, no.
I wasn't planning on telling this whole saga, but I'm here
We're
and
here
I'm feeling
now.
fired up.
Ready for it.
So then we get to I think it's the 4th mission. It's the first like real mission.
Uh-huh.
This is the one I was
Oh, my God.
yelling
Yes.
to you about.
Yeah.
So in this mission, it just drops you in. We still have all of these things that aren't explained, like all of these different unit options. So there's 3, but for the sake of this, only 2 really came up. 2 different kinds of units. There's like small guys, pretty cheap. You can build a fuck ton of them, real easy.
Yeah.
And then larger things, and everything. I don't think I mentioned this. Everything's like kind of a spaceship, like fighter thing.
Yeah, I was wondering like what form these took.
Yeah, they're like little I mean, I guess they're automated, so automaton like spaceship looking things. They're pretty cool.
All right,
Sounds
all
pretty
right.
decent. But yes, there's small dudes and there's big dudes.
Okay.
And it's a little more complicated than like talking about Age of Mythology again. The rock paper scissors of archers beat cavalry beats infantry, and something like that. There's a pretty simple relationship. This has like we're dealing with I think they use the words like frigates and destroyers and cruisers or something like that, but there's also air and ground and buildings and turrets and droids and like all kinds of other stuff we have to worry about.
All right, mixing a little Pokemon in here.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that level of, I would like to see one of those like charts.
Yeah.
Be very useful, but no. So we have the small guys, the big guys. I learned through the course of this dreadful mission that the small ones don't matter.
Ah.
They just don't seem to have any impact on how a fight goes, because they just evaporate and don't really do any damage.
Oh, sad.
So it's all about the big guys, and there's too many of them, and it's unclear like what's important at any given time. So the premise of this mission is there's a big bad. They call it the whale brain, which is hilarious. It's like a big. They're like, oh, this looks really alien. I was like, yeah, no shit. We're in space. Giant alien thing coming towards your base. You have a couple points of ambush of where you can like set units up to go. And here's where all of my problems with the game began to materialize.
Okay.
So I learned, it took me like 4 tries, this. So I learned that the small units don't matter.
Right.
The big units are important.
Okay.
But only some big units at any given time because they all have different specialties and strengths.
Okay.
Turns out I was supposed to use exactly one kind of unit. Like the only way I ended up winning was by building one specific large unit and nothing else.
Oh.
Just a sea of these like long-range missile shooty guys to take down this one thing.
Okay.
But here's the problem. The small units build in a couple seconds.
Sure.
The larger units take a minute or more to build.
That's a lot of time.
Yes. Yes, it is. And when you need like a sea of them, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And you can build multiple like manufacturing points, but that takes time. And even then, it's still gonna be pretty slow. And the worst part is that the movement speed of those units is insanely slow. Like unbelievably slow. Like it I was getting confused the first time I played because he would be like, oh, here's an ambush point on the other side of the map. Like, unless you already have an army ready to go, you probably can't use this, but I'll throw it out there. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The whale brain's all the way over in the corner. Like, it's nowhere near there. It's because it takes fucking like 5 minutes for these larger units to cross the map. And there's no way to speed them up. None of the upgrades are movement speed, I would like to point out. Because I would have bought that shit instantly.
Yeah.
So it's this weird like time dynamic of the things that are important like take too long and I can speed the game up, but then I feel like it's inefficient. Like the last quest I did, I ended up just bailing on because my army got wiped out and attacking things because I have no gauge of what amount of units I need to take something because I don't know what's important because it hasn't explained to me. Anyway, and I was like, I just don't care because I'd have to take another like 10 minutes to build up an army because of how long it takes to build the large units, and then take another 5 minutes to walk them across the map. And I was like, I just don't care. And I'm looking around because in this particular quest, you have an ally, and I'm looking at every like the ally and the enemy's setups, and they're just building so much. And like I'm shit at RTS games, and I think it's because I don't build. Like I like to take it slow and conservative and have control. I just don't have the attention span to build things everywhere at the same time. And there's some like inefficiencies built into the game in that regard. Like it tells you, oh, hey, you have idle factories, implying that you should be building units always. But you have to manually tell factories to build things, and you have to navigate on the map to the factory to tell it to build things. Like you can't just issue orders from afar. Yeah, so it just felt, for the way I wanted to play it, clunky. But I think I'm also just bad at these kinds of games, so maybe it's not even the game's fault. But I was not enjoying myself. I'm not a very aggressive player, as we know. And that I remember playing Age of Mythology way back in the day. I would always just turtle, like build the best walls, build a giant army like right on myself. But that only worked against weaker AIs who didn't really come to attack you ever, so it was kind of a waste of effort. But I was way too slow and would get destroyed by the slightly harder AI. So I think I'm just bad at RTSs. And yeah. So from that perspective of someone who's bad at RTSs this game didn't have a lot of fun options for me because in Age of
Yeah.
Mythology there's the whole adventure of like, get my gods, get my Pegasi, get my Cyclops.
Hell
like,
yeah.
There's not that kind of progression. So
Yeah. Well, what would you rate your experience playing this game? And also, how do you feel about having played it now rather than when you first acquired it?
I see. So I guess we'll start with the second question. Not that sad. Probably would have had the same experience.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm feeling like a light to weak 2 pew pews out of 5. Like,
Ooh. Wow. It's pretty low.
not to say it's a bad game. I just did not enjoy. My
Didn't
time
vibe with it.
Didn't vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? How are you feeling about your Batmans?
Well, the Batman's
The
was
Batmans.
is actually from your library. So I did not
Oh, this is
consciously
news.
I did not consciously decide to own it. It's not something I would put my money towards. I don't regret having played it, but I don't think I needed to play it any sooner than I did.
Sure.
But I'll rate it a 6 out of 10 batarangs.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then, if we have nothing else,
Yeah.
we'll talk to y'all next week. We'll have a new set of games as we do.
Yep.
Want to hit us with that outro music?
I sure do.